Hey YouTube, I just want to say hello, and my thoughts are with all those individuals that are suffering through this storm system. Hurricane Hermine, as a few hours ago, was downgraded to a tropical storm, as we know, and is still causing lots of havoc throughout the East Coast. And so what we have right now is, and this course is this is about an hour's old news at the time of filming here, and it's not even midday Friday yet, but they're saying a little over 250,000 people just without power and electricity, and there could be other utilities as well that are interrupted, but this is just electricity. And so, of course, this storm system has gone through Florida and most of Georgia. It's now in the North Carolinas, and it'll be moving up more and more up the coast. And so we still have maybe another day to day and a half of this storm system interfering with the states here in America. So what can we learn from this? Because we're going to be hearing lots of stories over the days, weeks, and months, possibly years, about the things that happened during the storm system. People that weren't prepared and that were saved by those who were prepared. Those people who weren't prepared and couldn't get help because there was no one around that was prepared. And those people that were prepared that reached out and helped many people, or at least at the very minimum, were responsible enough to take care of their family. And so we have this lesson that this is why we have egress routes and alternative locations. Now, we may call them fancy words like BOLs, like bug out locations, but whatever you want to get. If you don't want to use terminology, that's fine. But you just have to have a way out, just like you need provisions, in certain skill sets. But in terms of provisions, that's why we have this thing called the 72-hour bag, or also known as Bob, the bug out bag. Once again, you don't have to use the terminology. You just got to have the stuff. And so people get caught up in all this. And there's so many times that I get messages saying, hey, thanks, The Art of Prepping, for doing what you do. I'm just starting to prep now because I watched, a few dozen of your videos, and now you motivated me. And I just want to say back, hey, I'm really excited about that. Good job. You got to start somewhere and continue on, and you'll be just fine. But there's a lot of people who still say, and people that I know that are just like, it's shocking. They have family, kids, and they're like, oh, no, I'm not a prepper, as if it's a bad thing. And I don't know if it's just the terminology that they're offended by, or they don't like the word prepper. Because maybe I can understand to some degree because the media really twists a lot of stuff. And I'll go into that a lot more detail on this commentary Sunday. I have a little bit of a talk about that. But in terms of, your ideologies of being a prepper or not, who cares if you use the word prep or not? Just have provisions and knowledge of how to take care of your family and at least yourself. And so, especially if you don't have a family, if you're just by yourself, kind of, individual, that you're a single person, take care of yourself. I mean, you should at least be able to do that. So you get to a point, though, you're just kind of like, well, what's so bad about being responsible and having means to take care of yourself? And we'll definitely hear a lot about this in the coming days and weeks. Once again, once this storm gets out of the system, out of our way, and the rebuilding starts to happen and the stories start to pour out about, oh, so-and-so did this for me, or so-and-so wasn't around that I thought was going to be around, and I relied on them 100%. And because of that, I wasn't prepared, and because I relied on other people, I had hardship and suffering. And there probably will be people that will be killed because of this storm. I don't know. I haven't watched the story so closely to see if there was or has any deaths, but I can tell you, though, that there's definitely people who will suffer from this, either financially or in other ways. And so prepping is all about these especially when you first start, having the essentials, having this common sense ingrained in your mindset, having a lifestyle of awareness. And so simply put, these essentials are really basic. Like in this storm system, the common sense approach to your basics or your essentials would be to get out of harm's way first. Having a good means of transportation, having a route to take and a location to go to that is in the safe zone, if you will. And then the next thing would have some provisions to hold you over. Either, you're going to need more food and water, which you should also have that with you, and such a thing called like the bug out bag we talked about to hold you over for 3 to 5 days. A kit for each person in the family. And then, when you get to that location, you may need to resupply. So you may have to have an emergency fund. And this is when you have some of your emergency fund in cash on your person or in your home that you can actually take with you to use for this this particular emergency. So all this is very common sense to you and I, and maybe for the people who are just starting to watch the channel. I get a lot of new subscribers every day, and I just want to welcome all of you once more. Always welcome to leave comments. There are some people who leave comments that are totally off base. Some of them are vulgar, and some of them promote propagandas that are completely not true. And so even though when you post a comment, it typically goes through without me screening it, it's about 99% of the time. If you put a lot of spam and stuff in your particular comment, it will actually filter that, and it'll wait before it posts just so that I can check it, just to make sure that it's legit. And so every once in a while I get a pretty big spam comment, and more than half the time I'll just let it go through just because I'm not here to censor. But at the same time, there's some comments just like the one I did recently on the global warming. I got quite a few pretty hateful type of comments about how everything is so unscientific, for example, and then I'm just cherry picking or blah blah. Of course, they couldn't debunk half of what I said, and they were just trying to get any little essence or morsel of anything that I said and try to twist it. And I don't really appreciate that very much. And those people are not welcome on the channel, but everyone else is. I don't want a bunch of people trying to start fights and stuff. And so you got a lot of people though, which is so hilarious. They try to prove global warming with the data that's given by the people who support global warming. So obviously the data is going to show that there's some kind of global warming according to their so-called theory, if you can even go that far. To me, it's not even a theory. But they use those same, the advocates for global warming to promote their own agenda. It's like, okay, that's just ridiculous. That's not even objective at all. How can you do that? So it's the same thing with people who don't prep. It's like when you start really get down to brass tacks of why don't you prepare and have some type of contingency, it's because they have a deep-seated type of philosophy of denial that nothing could ever happen to them, especially for the younger people. The younger people really have this complex that they're invincible. And I will admit, when I was a lot younger, I had that thought too. I used to drive very fast. I used to have sports cars, and I can tell you I was somewhat reckless. Not anymore, though, because I got a little older and a little wiser. And you'd be surprised the stupid things you do. I mean, you don't need me to tell you. You know the things you've done when you were younger. It's amazing that a lot of us are still alive. The things that I did. I was racing Porsches and stupid crap on the highway. I mean, just stuff that it's just like, what the heck was I doing? I mean, I try to blame it on my hormones, I guess, adolescence, but, that almost got me killed a few times. So you get to a point, though, that you kind of, when you get a little older and a little wiser, and hopefully a lot of us are that way, and if you're young, that's cool, man. But just listen to the people who've been there, us that have actually been young, and we're telling you, hey, there's no need to be so oblivious to the reality. You need to focus on what matters, and having some recourse to threats is an important element of staying alive and being able to weather, no pun intended, with the storms going on, but to weather hardship. Having an emergency fund is no joke, because when you need it, and you can't be like, I guess I'll just go and work another job. No, when you have a broken legs, or if you're in intensive care, or if you lost your jobs, or your house just burnt down and you don't have homeowners insurance, you're kind of in a big problem. You have a massive problem on your hands. And so, anyways, just wanted to have this video. This is my only video for today. I'm going to just kind of chill out and stay tuned tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be Prepper Health Saturday. So stay tuned. We're talking about legumes.